The year I was kidnapped, Aiden single-handedly charged into the bandits' lair, wielding a machete. He severed the tendons in their hands and feet, sending them one by one to the insane asylum. When he returned, he was covered in blood, 3 ribs broken, but he held me tightly and said, "Serena, don't be afraid, I'm here, I won't let anyone hurt you." Later, he endured countless hardships to gain a foothold in Yanqing. In just 3 years, he turned Shen Corporation into the largest group in Yanqing. When I was rumored to be unclean, because of the kidnapping case, becoming the laughingstock of Yanqing, he gave me a wedding of the century, silencing everyone. After the marriage, Aiden spoiled me rotten, and everyone envied me, the infinitely glamorous Mrs. I thought the hideous scar on his back, left for me, was his lifelong promise to love me, until Rosalie appeared. The white moonlight he had hidden in his heart for many years, smiled and said to me, "Aiden got tired of playing with you long ago, you're a second-hand item. How can you still have the face to occupy the position of Mrs. Gu?" I sneered, cut her prized hand and pushed her into the sealed glass room. I lit my specially made incense. On the surveillance, she clutched her neck, struggling to breathe, her body convulsing. I sent this video directly to Aiden's conference room screen. Live broadcast for the whole company. 10 minutes later, Aiden, his eyes bloodshot, kicked open the office door. He held in his hand the customized fountain pen I gave him. The cold tip of the pen pressed firmly against my throat. "Serena, you even deserve to touch her hand?" His voice was a roar squeezed through his teeth. I laughed, welcoming the pen tip, and stepped forward another inch. Does a mistress who covets someone else's husband deserve to talk about precious hands? Her hands are used to draw designs. What are your hands for? Only used to plot conspiracies, to swipe credit cards for high consumption, useless. Aiden's eyes darkened, all emotions hidden behind his bottomless eyes. "Aiden, brother, save me." My hand. It hurt so much. Rosalie crawled out of the glass room, her face pale and weak, her makeup smeared with tears. She held up the hand I had cut with the pen cap, the bloodstains deep to the bone. "Serena's sister wants to kill me. She said she wants to destroy my dreams. She said people like me only deserve to rot in the gutter." As she cried, she gave me a smug look, an angle that only the two of us could see. Aiden's eyes instantly filled with heartache, and the pen pressed against my throat even closer. I met his murderous eyes. "If you have the guts, stick it in. Just like the way you saved me back then." The pen tip pierced the skin, and beads of blood seeped out. He still didn't do it. A loud slap landed heavily on my face. He had never laid a finger on me. My ears were ringing, and a strong, metallic taste instantly filled my mouth. I stuck out my tongue and licked my broken corner of my mouth. "Serena, you brought this slap on yourself." His gaze passed over me and landed on the bodyguard behind me. "Marcus, come here." Marcus was my bodyguard. He had been by my side for many years, efficient and loyal. He stepped forward without a word. Aiden didn't even look at him, and with a backhand, he slammed the pen stained with blood from my throat into Marcus's palm. The movement was so fast that there was no time to react. With a puff, the pen tip pierced through the palm. Blood splashed all over my face. Marcus didn't even let out a groan. Only the veins on his forehead bulged. There's a price to pay for following the wrong master. Aiden pulled out the pen and threw it on the ground as if it was something dirty. Soon 2 security guards came in and dragged Marcus out expressionlessly. I knew this was Aiden's warning to me. If I move Rosalie, he will move the people around me. One by one, until I become alone. "Serena, take care of yourself." Aiden, holding the sobbing Rosalie in his arms, walked in front of me. Rosalie was in his arms, crying like a pear blossom in the rain, but her voice was just loud enough for me to hear clearly. "Aiden, brother, my hand hurts so much. Will I never be able to draw again?" "No." Aiden's voice was unprecedentedly gentle. "I will cut off her hand and graft it onto yours, and I won't let anything happen to you." Watching the back of him carrying Rosalie resolutely leaving, I suddenly remembered many years ago. During that kidnapping, he blocked a knife for me, breaking 3 ribs. He was covered in blood and hugged me, saying, "Serena, don't be afraid, I'm here, I won't allow anyone to hurt you." Later, he would always suffer from piercing pain on rainy nights, tormenting him all night so he couldn't sleep. At that time, I felt so sorry for him that I shed tears, but he didn't care and smiled and said, "As long as I can protect you from harm, I am willing to bear any amount of this pain." The hideous scar on his back used to be his lifelong promise to me. Now the oath is still in my ears, but he has become the person who stabs me with a knife. I raised my hand, wiped away the blood on my face, and the last trace of warmth in my eyes completely dissipated. No matter what method, Rosalie must die. Aiden took Rosalie to his private hospital, protecting her meticulously. He invited the top experts to treat a scratched hand. Aiden didn't look for me again, staying by her bedside every day. The degree of cherish immediately caused major media to speculate. Has I, the former Mrs. Gu, become a discarded wife? Reporters couldn't reach Aiden, so they could only surround me every day. The phone was blown up by the media and the superficial sisters in the socialite circle. I had just clarified to the media that our marriage was stable. Then, Aiden announced the establishment of a top design studio for Rosalie. Public relations articles spread all over the sky, implying between the lines that I was psychologically twisted because I was jealous of Rosalie's talent and unable to bear children. Implying that I maliciously framed his pure and kind partner. Overnight, I became a well-known jealous woman in Yenching, and became the topic of conversation and joke in the circle. Even the old story of my kidnapping was dug up by gossip magazines, and made a big fuss about. The title was a few bloody words. A withered flower is hard to ascend to the hall. A true phoenix returns from nirvana. The withered flower is me. The true phoenix is naturally Rosalie. Once he personally held me up to the clouds. Now he is personally planning to push me into this carefully planned media storm. Gentleness can be a blade, and deep affection can also become a net. It turned out that the dignity he gave was just a heart-wrenching strangulation. I was about to get into the car when a microphone almost hit my mouth. "Mrs. Gu, what do you think of the withered flower report?" I glanced at the logo on the microphone. It was the entertainment magazine controlled by Aiden. He wouldn't even leave this little bit of face. I smiled, and facing the camera, slowly tidied the hair that had been ruffled by the wind. Faded beauty? That's not quite accurate. After all, I'm still Mrs. Gu. Miss Rosalie, on the other hand, has become a phoenix at such a young age. Truly remarkable. The reporters smelled blood, and the flashes became even brighter. "Mrs. Gu, are you implying that Ms. Rosalie is not as talented as she appears?" I didn't say that. I feigned surprise and covered my mouth. I just admire Ms. Rosalie very much, and I'm also worried about her. I heard she only had a 2-centimeter wound on her hand, but she consulted with the most famous international surgical experts. The total cost of the examination and care has exceeded 7 figures. Such a precious hand. I hope it doesn't affect her creative talent. I changed the subject. Speaking of which, many of Ms. Rosalie's designs feel very familiar to me. Especially a piece called First Snow, which is almost identical to my graduation design from university. Perhaps it's a resonance between geniuses. Unfortunately, my original manuscript was destroyed in a fire long ago. I left it at that, leaving them with endless room for imagination. Watching the reporter's eyes instantly go wild, I smiled slightly and turned to get into the car. The moment the car door closed, the smile on my face completely vanished. My phone immediately vibrated. It was Mrs. Wang, who usually loved to gossip. "Serena, are you okay?" I knew that Rosalie wasn't a good person, a plagiarism dog. A weather vane, following wherever the wind blows. I hung up immediately and blocked her. Half an hour later, a new trending topic topped the charts. Hashtag exorbitant medical expenses. Hashtag genius designer suspected of plagiarism. Hashtag Serena old manuscripts. Hashtag Aiden, the knife you used to kill me, I can also use to stab the person closest to your heart. The game has just begun. Gu Corporation's anniversary celebration was a gathering of social elites. She was wearing a white evening gown with a jade necklace, supposedly passed down to Gu's daughters-in-law, around her neck. That was the necklace Aiden said he would save for me. But now it was around her neck. She saw me, holding a wine glass, and walked towards me with a smile. "Sister, look at the necklace around my neck. They say it's a Gu family heirloom." Aiden Gidge insisted on giving it to me. I really don't know how to respond. Sister, why are you looking at me like that? Even if you're unhappy, the person Aiden Gidge loves is still me. He said he wanted a child to keep me by his side forever. You wouldn't know how hard he works every night. He even said you were like a dead fish, so boring. Oh right, I forgot to tell you. Aiden Gidge said you've been touched by so many people and are filthy and don't deserve to have his children. My heart felt like it had been pierced by countless needles. All these years, it wasn't that I couldn't get pregnant, but that Aiden never wanted me to. What a load of crap about not wanting me to suffer the pain of childbirth. And I actually believed it. Rosalie saw my face turn pale, and became even more smug. The position of Mrs. Gu is mine. You better be a sensible whore and get lost, or you'll see how Aiden Gidge deals with you. A flash of blood flashed in my eyes. I reached out and grabbed the jade necklace around her neck, pulling her head down hard. I leaned close to her ear and said coldly, "Before I get divorced, you are still just a mistress who can never show her face." I let go of the necklace and seemingly gave her a light push with my fingertips. The next second, she exaggeratedly staggered backward, spilling the entire glass of red wine all over her pure white dress. Immediately afterward, a scream pierced through the banquet hall. Her eyes instantly filled with tears, acting out the appearance of someone who has suffered a great injustice. "Sister Serena, I know you don't like me, but why would you do this to me?" Aiden came at the sound and shielded her in his arms. He didn't give me a chance to explain. He looked at me coldly in front of all the guests. "Apologize." I looked at him, feeling ridiculous and laughable. I said it wasn't me. "Serena, if it wasn't you, did Rosalie splash herself on purpose? Apologize to Rosalie, or get out of the Gu family." His tone didn't have a trace of doubt, only protection and favoritism. The surrounding guests were whispering. It seems that the reports from a while ago were true. This Serena is really a jealous woman. I heard she was kidnapped a long time ago and found her whole body. TSK, so she's just used goods. How can used goods compare to Dr. Rosalie? She's a gynecologist who returned from overseas, young and clean, 1,000,000 times better than her. I became the most ridiculous entertainment at this grand banquet. I turned to leave. Rosalie suddenly stepped forward and grabbed me, forcing the necklace into my hand. "Sister Serena, don't go. I know you're angry because of the necklace. I'll give it back to you. Don't be mad at Aiden Gidge." I was completely disgusted by her hypocritical face, and I violently shook off her touch. She used the same trick again, staggering backward again, weakly bumping into the dining table, and the necklace fell to the ground with a crisp sound. Aiden's eyes turned red instantly when he saw this. Rosalie hid in his arms, crying with tears streaming down her face. "Sister Serena, I just wanted to return the necklace to you. Stop with your disgusting act." Before I could finish speaking, a huge force pushed me away. My back slammed heavily against the cold, hard marble pillar, shaking my internal organs with pain. "Serena, I told you there wouldn't be a next time. Today, if you don't kneel down and apologize to Rosalie in public, don't even think about leaving here." I held onto the stone pillar and laughed, laughing so hard that tears almost came out. Does she even deserve it, that slut? I struggled to stand up straight and looked around the room. Today, if I want to leave, who dares to stop me? Unrepentant. With a wave of Aiden's hand, the security guard swarmed forward, holding me down tightly and trying to make me kneel. I struggled fiercely, but he hugged Rosalie and kicked my knee, and I fell to my knees in pain. At that moment, Rosalie, who was in his arms, was carried by Aiden, and she fell directly on my calf. In an instant, I heard the sound of something breaking, and a sharp pain attacked me again. The moment I pushed Rosalie away, I saw her silently say to me, "Serves you right, Aiden Gidge is mine." Aiden shielded Rosalie in his arms again. "Are you hurt anywhere?" Rosalie softly shook her head. "I don't know how Sister Serena is doing." Aiden looked at me, and seeing me covered in sweat, a trace of barely perceptible nervousness appeared in his eyes. "Serena, what's wrong with you?" Aiden wanted to step forward, but Rosalie held him tightly. "Aiden Gidge, when I fell just now, Sister Serena said she wouldn't let me go if I left. I'm so scared. My head is dizzy right now, don't leave me." I looked up at her clumsy lie and said in a cold sweat, I would only say I will kill you. Aiden was angry, unrepentant. He looked down at me. Serena, when did you become so vicious? Why can't you just let Rosalie go? These years as Mrs. Gu have made you presumptuous. You've disappointed me too much. Rosalie nestled in his arms, appropriately displaying her compassionate face. Brother Aiden, let it go. So many people are watching. Save some face for my sister. Face. Aiden's gaze landed on me, contemptuous and cold. Does she deserve it? His tone was calm, but the ruthlessness in his eyes almost solidified. Serena, apologize. I don't want to hurt you. But if you do something wrong, you should admit it. I laughed. The laughter was soft, but it silenced the surrounding whispers. Aiden, I am your wife. You want me to apologize to this slut who isn't even worthy of shining my shoes? Are you crazy or am I? His face changed drastically. It seems you really don't want to get better. He leaned close to me and whispered, think about your parents' graves. I wonder what it would be like if they were bulldozed. The blood in my body instantly froze. Back then, my parents treated him like their own son, and entrusted the family business to him along with me. Later, after my parents passed away, he was the one who helped me choose the burial plot, saying that he wanted the two elders to rest in a place with beautiful scenery. Now, he's using my parents' resting place to threaten me, forcing me to kneel before his mistress. My vision blurred. The sharp pain in my calf, and the throbbing in my heart became numb at that moment. I looked at his face close to mine, the face I once loved to the core. It turned out that a devil was hidden beneath that facade. I woke up in the hospital. Separated by the curtain of the emergency room, I heard the doctor's voice. The patient is 2 months pregnant. She can't be emotionally stimulated anymore. There are signs of a threatened miscarriage. Also, the patient's left knee ligament is torn. We need to arrange surgery immediately, otherwise it will leave permanent damage. Pregnant? My dead heart seemed to have been thrown a stone. Then came Aiden's cold and ruthless voice. Abort it. The doctor was stunned. Mr. Gu, this. Her mental state is unstable. She's not fit to be a mother. Aiden's voice was terrifyingly calm, as if he was deciding the fate of an object. I thought that was the limit of his cruelty. But I was wrong. Rosalie's delicate sobbing sounded. Brother Aiden, I'm so scared. If Sister Serena's leg recovers, she will definitely take revenge on me. I just wanted to return the necklace to her. I really didn't mean to. Aiden gently comforted her. When he turned to speak to the doctor, he returned to his cold and ruthless self. Abandon the knee surgery as well. The doctor's voice was filled with shock. Mr. Gu, this will make her a cripple. She will never be able to leave the wheelchair. Unless there's a miracle. It doesn't matter. She's so malicious. Locking her up will prevent her from harming others again. From now on, I will personally take care of her for the rest of her life. The stone that had just been thrown into my heart lake, along with my last bit of innocence, instantly sank into the abyss. A tear rolled down my pillow cold. I remembered that in the first few years of our marriage, I often went to orphanages. He would always smile and say that I would definitely be the best mother in the world. He said that he wanted to have a daughter as pure and kind as me. Once upon a time, he said I was pure. Now he says I'm malicious. Once upon a time, he said I was fit to be a mother. Now he says I'm not. I was pushed into the operating room by the nurse. No distrans, no stragels. Because my leg couldn't move, and my heart was already dead. Through the glass door of the operating room, I saw Aiden standing outside. He looked at me expressionlessly, as if he were looking at a stranger who had nothing to do with him. I didn't cry or shout. I just stared at him intently. Using all my strength, I gave him a strange smile. I want him to remember. Remember my eyes at this moment, my smile at this moment. Remember the child in my belly, killed by his own hand. Remember this leg broken by his own hand. Aiden, from today onwards. Between you and me, there is a blood feud. Endless. While I was hospitalized, Rosalie brought flowers to see me, a bouquet of pure white chrysanthemums. She smiled like a harmless white lotus. Sister Serena, Brother Aiden said you like chrysanthemums. I brought them for you today hoping that seeing flowers you like will make you feel better. She placed the flowers in the vase by the bed, her gaze falling on my leg in a cast. The kick Brother Aiden gave you that day injured your knee, but it's okay. You can apply for disability benefits in the future. I quietly looked at her, without saying a word. The smile on her face gradually disappeared, and the resentment in her eyes could no longer be hidden. You're just a cripple now, and a used woman. Why are you stubbornly holding on to the position of Mrs. Gu? If I were you, I would have died in a gutter long ago. You're an embarrassment to be alive. I really don't know if your dead parents can rest in peace in the underworld. My gaze suddenly turned icy, as if to pierce through her. She felt uneasy from my gaze, took half a step back, and then straightened her chest again, her eyes full of sarcasm. What, you want to kill me? Too bad, you're a cripple who can't even move now. She suddenly approached me and whispered, why don't I help you end it today? Before the words fell, she suddenly straightened up, her face instantly switching to a terrified expression, and screamed, Sister Serena, don't do this. I was wrong. Don't kill me. Accompanied by the screams, she grabbed the glass of water on the table and smashed it hard on the ground. With a crisp bang. Under my stunned gaze, she picked up the sharpest piece of glass, without any hesitation, and forcefully slashed it across her face that she was so proud of. Blood gushed out instantly. Serena, why did you ruin my face? A piercing scream shattered the tranquility of the hospital room. The door to the private room was kicked open. Aiden rushed in with his men, his eyes filled with murderous intent. He immediately saw Rosalie on the ground, her face covered in blood. Serena, you're insane. I just wanted to explain. But he grabbed the bowl of millet porridge on the table and threw it at me. The scalding liquid drenched the back of my hand. My skin instantly turned a grotesque red, and the excruciating pain burned along my nerves all the way to my heart. I trembled violently in pain, unable to make a sound. The look in his eyes was filled with undisguised disgust, a gaze hotter than the porridge on my hand. Take her away. He coldly ordered the men in white coats behind him. Take her back to the Gu family's sanitarium for proper treatment. Let her learn what it means to be obedient. After saying that, he took off his suit jacket and carefully wrapped it around the shivering Rosalie in his arms. Aiden, I just heard Serena likes white chrysanthemums, so I bought some. I didn't think she would get so angry she'd try to kill me. I'm so scared. Meeting Aiden's disappointed gaze, I didn't explain, but silently watched their performance. Finally, he carried her away without looking back. Several burly men stepped forward and roughly hauled me up. The pain on the back of my hand was nothing compared to the tearing of my heart. I looked at his resolute back and laughed. Aiden, you personally sent me to hell. The Gu family's sanitarium was actually an asylum. It housed the kidnappers who kidnapped me years ago. It housed the people who spread rumors about me and ruined my reputation. It housed all the people who had stood in Aiden's way. I never thought that one day I would be locked up there too. On the first day, a disheveled man rushed towards me. He was one of the kidnappers. He pointed at me and laughed wildly. Boss, look who I caught. Miss Shen. I screamed, struggled, and resisted with all my might. In return, I received thicker needles and nerve-burning electric shocks. After the electrocution, I was like a puddle of mud, unable to even lift a finger. I realized that here, normal people were the crazy ones. Later, I learned to pretend. I began to become quiet, foolish. Every day I drew circles on the wall and muttered numbers that no one understood. The electric shocks and beatings stopped, replaced by cold medicine injected into my veins every day. The drugs made my body weaker and weaker, and my consciousness often became chaotic. Only the ugly scar from the hot porridge on the back of my hand reminded me of everything. Every day I would pick at it with my fingernails, let it scab, and then pick at it again. Using pain to fight the numbness caused by the drugs. Everyone thought I was really crazy, including Rosalie, who occasionally came to visit and show off her victory. One night, the piercing fire alarm broke the silence of the sanitarium. In the thick smoke, an old and familiar face rushed towards me. It was Mr. Lee, my father's most trusted old subordinate. He had been suppressed by Aiden and driven out of the company long ago. I never expected him to appear here. Miss, go quickly. He shoved a cane and a new ID card into my hand, his eyes filled with a determination to die. I'll hold them off for you. Live on, for the master, and for yourself. Behind him were the security guards chasing after him. He turned around and blocked the door with his thin body. The last thing I saw was his resolute back in the firelight. That fire burned away the last trace of attachment I had to this world. Serena died in that carefully planned fire. Aiden received a call from the sanitarium director a month later. Mr. Gu, your wife. She's missing in the fire. His first reaction was annoyance, a burst of anger at being provoked again. He thought it was just another one of my tricks. Where can a crazy woman run off to? Find her. Dig 3 feet into the ground and find her for me. But 1 day, 2 days, a week passed. I vanished like smoke, leaving no trace. His annoyance turned into panic. He used all his connections and frantically turned the entire Yen city upside down. But to no avail. Until he returned to our former home, that cold villa. His trusted subordinate reported in a trembling voice. Mr. Gu, we found out that Madam's parents' graves were quietly moved a month ago. At that moment, Aiden's heart suddenly emptied, as if an invisible hand had dug out a piece of it. Something most important was being forcibly stripped from his life, never to be grasped again. His eyes turned red and his voice was hoarse. Find her. Keep looking for her. I want to see her alive, or see her dead. He stumbled into our former bedroom, throwing himself onto the bed, which still seemed to retain my cold scent. His eyes fell on the desk in the study. There a document lay quietly. It was a divorce agreement. My signature was crisp and decisive, without the slightest hesitation. His hands trembled as he frantically opened the computer and logged into our cloud drive, which stored all our photos. A cold message popped up on the screen. This user has cleared all files. All our past, from when we first met to our marriage, had been wiped clean by my own hand. He finally understood. I wasn't missing. I was completely done with him. Serena wants to leave. He grabbed the divorce agreement and laughed softly, but the laughter was worse than crying, his scarlet eyes filled with a crazy possessiveness. Without my permission, you can't go anywhere. The fragments of the paper fell like snowflakes from between his fingers. I don't agree. I absolutely don't agree. 3 years after I disappeared, the business world was in turmoil. Aiden's Gu Group and the old giant Zhao Group were engaged in a deadly battle. The news headlines were updated daily with the progress of the war. Gu's stock price has plummeted for days, facing the risk of delisting. Zhao's is pressing forward, intending to swallow Gu's in one fell swoop. I sat in front of the floor-to-ceiling windows of a penthouse apartment in London, swirling the red wine in my glass. On the screen was Aiden's haggard but still fierce face. He probably thought that I had already died in some unknown corner. He wouldn't know that I was enjoying watching his business empire teeter on the brink of collapse. Gu Group, President's Office. Aiden slammed his fist on the table, scattering documents all over the floor. Those old foxes in the Zhao family are trying to kill me. His assistant tremblingly handed him a file. Mr. Guar, our capital chain is really about to break. The bank has already rejected our loan application. Without further capital injection, we'll have to file for bankruptcy liquidation at the opening bell tomorrow. The office was deathly silent. Just then an encrypted email popped up. Sender S.Q. Capital. The content was simple. We can inject capital, but we want 30% equity in Gu's new energy project. Aiden's pupils constricted. The new energy project was his future trump card. Giving up 30% equity was tantamount to feeding a tiger with his own flesh. But if he didn't accept, Gu's would be bankrupt tomorrow. S.Q.I. He murmured, the name carrying a strange familiarity. Investigate. Find out where this company came from. The assistant looked troubled. Mr. Gu, their background is overseas. The information is top-level encrypted. We can't find anything. Aiden stared at the screen, his bloodshot eyes filled with struggle. Finally, he gritted his teeth and typed a single word. Okay. At the same time, my email received Aiden's reply. I chuckled and drained the red wine in my glass. Brandon, Mr. Lee's son stood behind me, watching the news of Gu's narrow victory on the screen, his eyes complex. Miss, why are we helping him? I turned and swiped across another screen. On it was an internal equity structure diagram of the Zhao group. Brandon, look. Eyes capital injection, helping Aiden to a narrow victory, will only make the Zhao family more wary of him, more eager to eliminate him. The Zhao family will invest more capital, at any cost, to crush Gu's. And Aiden, in order to survive, will repeatedly seek help from S.Q. drinking poison to quench his thirst. The more fiercely they fight, the more blood will be shed. The smile on my lips grew cold. And I only need to slowly pick up the dropped shares in core businesses when they are both seriously injured. Brandon suddenly understood, his eyes filled with awe. Using leverage, eating both companies. Miss, you've set up such a big game. I didn't respond, but simply asked. Has the other gift been delivered? Brandon bowed and said. It has already been sent through a special channel. It's burn on read, so there's no way to trace it. I pressed the enter key. Send it. My gaze pierced through thousands of miles, landing on the prison that once confined me in Yen City. Rosalie, don't you love acting the most? Today, I'll build you the biggest stage, and let Aiden send you to hell with his own hands. This is just an appetizer. Gu's group. The screen in front of me was divided into two screens. One was Aiden's office, where he was wearily pinching his eyebrows. The other was the hallway surveillance, where Rosalie was humming a song and walking towards his office in high heels. The show was about to begin. I typed in the command. A mandatory window popped up on Aiden's computer screen. A congratulatory gift from S.Q. Mr. Gu, congratulations on your narrow victory. Also, here's a fascinating performance from your pet. The expression on Aiden's face instantly turned gloomy. He thought it was a provocation and reached out to close it. But the mouse was completely out of control. The video began to play forcibly. The screen showed Rosalie's fawning smile. Don't worry, Mr. Zhao, I've already gotten the core data of Gu's latest new energy project. Aiden's body stiffened. The scene changed. In the dark room of a nursing home, several orderlies injected an unknown potion into the arm of a thin woman. That woman was me. The person on the bed twitched painfully, and in the video, Rosalie's delicate and vicious voice came. Increase the dosage, don't let her die, and don't let her wake up. I want her to live like a dog, forever living in nightmares. I looked at Aiden's face on the screen, the color fading inch by inch, leaving only deathly gray. His hands were shaking, not with anger, but with fear. The video continued. The recording of Rosalie bribing the newspaper to fabricate the news of me being a fallen woman. The bank transfer record of her, and the nursing home director trading for electroshock torture on me. One by one, piece by piece. The evidence was irrefutable. Rosalie pushed open the door and entered, with a sweet smile on her face. Aiden G, you're looking for me? Are you going to celebrate us? What responded to her was Aiden's slowly turning face. There was no expression on that face, only a pair of black, bottomless eyes. He didn't say anything, he just turned the computer screen towards her. The video was playing on a loop. Rosalie's smile froze on her face, the color instantly draining away. She knelt on the ground with a thump, crawling over with her hands and feet, desperately grabbing Aiden's trouser legs. No. Aiden G, listen to me. They forced me to. I love you. Explain. Aiden slowly squatted down, his voice strangely light. Explain how you lied to me, how you framed Serena step by step? Explain how you had her electrocuted, medicated, living a life worse than death, unable to seek it in the nursing home? His fingers gently stroked Rosalie's face. The gesture was so gentle, as if stroking a rare treasure. A glimmer of hope just ignited in Rosalie's eyes. A ruthless slap sent her flying, the corners of her mouth instantly overflowing with blood. Bitch. Aiden stepped on the back of her hand, crushing it hard. Does garbage like you deserve to say Serena's name? Rosalie let out a shrill scream from the pain. Seeing that begging was useless, the pitiful mask on her face was finally completely torn off. She laughed maniacally like a madwoman. Ha 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 ha. Aiden, what are you pretending for now? Who was it that gave up on treating her legs in the first place? It was you. Who was it that personally ordered her to be locked up in the asylum? It was also you. You clearly knew how many enemies who wanted to kill her were locked inside. Dare you say you didn't have the intention of using a knife to kill? You're the hypocrite who wanted her dead the most. Her broken legs, the blood she shed, all the suffering she endured. Half of it is on you. You're dirtier than me. What right do you have to judge me? Every word was like a poisoned dagger, accurately piercing Aiden's most hypocritical heart. I watched his pale face on the screen and chuckled. Drag her away. He seemed to have exhausted all his strength, his voice hoarse. Cut out her tongue, lock her in the sanatorium, and let her properly enjoy everything she prepared for Serena. Aiden, you won't die a good death. Serena will never forgive you, even as a ghost. Ha ha ha. Rosalie was dragged away like a dead dog, her venomous curses still echoing in the hallway. Aiden slumped wearily into a chair, a huge emptiness and panic engulfing him. Just then, I picked up my phone and dialed Brandon's number. It's time. The next second. On the screen, the intercom on Aiden's desk rang urgently. It was his assistant's voice, filled with unprecedented panic. Mr. Gu, something terrible has happened. Miss Serena. She's back. She's at the Gu family mansion and she's negotiating with the board of directors about acquiring Gu Corporation. Aiden's mind exploded as if something had completely shattered. He jumped up, knocking over his chair, and rushed out of the office like a madman. I turned off the screen, picked up my wine glass, and gently clinked it against the window, facing the London nightscape. Aiden. The game has only just begun. Gu family mansion, the gates wide open. I sat in the main seat, leisurely sipping tea. When Aiden rushed in, what burst out in his eyes was not horror, but the frantic joy of something lost and found. Serena, you're back. I've been looking for you for so long. I was going crazy looking for you. He roared, opening his arms to rush towards me. I didn't even raise my eyes. Brandon, who stood beside me, extended his arm, accurately blocking him at the chest. He used all his strength but couldn't move forward an inch. Aiden's gaze was locked on me, and when he saw me calmly stand up, his pupils contracted sharply, and he subconsciously took half a step back. Your legs. Serena, your legs are healed. Thanks to you. I walked up to him, my voice calm and without a ripple. In order to stand up again and tear you apart with my own hands, I tasted the bitterness of hell again. Aiden's face instantly drained of color, and he eagerly defended himself, his voice trembling. It was Rosalie. That bitch deceived me. I've already locked her up in the sanatorium you were in. I'm going to make her pay you back for all the suffering you endured, 1,000 times over. He looked at me almost pleadingly, as if this was a generous gift he was offering me. Serena, I know I was wrong. Let's start over, okay? I looked at him amused. How could he have the nerve to suggest starting over after what he had done to me? Start over. Aiden, have you forgotten how you trampled on my dignity at the anniversary celebration, forcing me to kneel before a mistress? Have you forgotten how you personally ordered the abortion of our child and the crippling of my legs? Have you forgotten that when you threw me into that madhouse, did you ever think that I would be tortured to death inside? His Adam's apple bobbed, each word like a slow slicing of his flesh. Those people. Those doctors. I've dealt with them all. I avenged you. Avenge me? The curve of my lips turned colder. Aiden, your methods of silencing people are becoming more and more skilled. Unfortunately, I'm no longer the fool who believed everything you said. I stopped looking at him and simply snapped my fingers. A crisp sound. The so-called confidants and bodyguards he brought with him all turned around. The sound of leather shoes on the marble floor was unified and orderly. Then they stood silently behind me. The entire hall was left with him as the only solitary figure. I threw a document at his face. The snow-white papers scattered like butterflies, each page containing the Gu Corporation shares he once took pride in. Aiden, I didn't come back to reminisce with you. I looked at his instantly pale face, word by word. I came to acquire you. The bodyguards he brought, the confidants he trusted the most, stepped back in unison. Then they stood silently behind me. Aiden's expression went from rage to absurdity, and finally to complete blankness. Q. L. Is that you? Just figuring it out now? Too late. I straightened up, looking down at him condescendingly. Do you remember that kidnapping? His body shook violently, his lips trembling, unable to speak. A staged hero saving the beauty act you and the Zhao family orchestrated together, just your test of loyalty to the Zhao family. Your goal was to marry me, to legitimately swallow the entire Shen family, bit by bit. As for Rosalie, what white moonlight is she? Just a new pawn used by the Zhao family to contain you and disgust you after they realized your ambitions were too great. I looked at his swaying body and delivered the final blow. Aiden, the deep affection you're so proud of, the sacrifices that move you to tears, from beginning to end, are all based on the dirtiest, most despicable calculations. You are nothing. 15. The last sentence completely crushed him. Aiden's knees buckled, and he knelt heavily on the floor in front of me. No. It's not like that. Like a drowning man, he grabbed the hem of my skirt, his face covered in tears and snot, utterly wretched. Serena, I was wrong. I was really wrong. I love you, I really fell in love with you back then. Love. I lifted my toe and gently kicked his hand away from my skirt. The action was like brushing off something disgusting and dirty. Your love is too cheap. I turned and walked towards the door, my voice cold and without a trace of warmth. I can give you the atonement you want. Return everything you took from the Shen family with interest. Aiden. I stopped at the door, without looking back. The hell you wanted, I built it for you with my own hands, enjoy it. Behind me was his completely broken, heart-rending cry. I walked step by step, with unwavering determination, never looking back again. 1 month later. The most famous private sanatorium in Yanqing, the top-floor VIP isolation room. My new assistant respectfully handed me a tablet. Ms. Shen, the real-time monitoring of the sanatorium. On the screen, Aiden's head was shaved, wearing a striped patient gown, sitting in a pure white room. He was perfectly lucid. He grabbed a nurse's hand, his mouth moving rapidly, his expression agitated. The assistant's voice was flat and monotonous, like reading a tedious report. He spends 16 hours a day trying to prove to all the doctors and nurses that he's not crazy. He says he's the president of the Gu Corporation. He says you're the crazy one. He says he wants to see you. He wants to kill you. And then he begs for mercy, saying he loves you. The assistant paused, adding, but no one believes him. Everyone just thinks he's another pitiful madman talking nonsense. He swiped the screen, switching to the surveillance of the next room. Rosalie. That face she was once so proud of now resembled a tattered rag, carelessly slashed. Her tongue was gone. As soon as she saw Aiden's image, she made unintelligible, strange noises from her throat, and then frantically banged her head against the wall. Her face was covered in blood. He sees and hears this every day. The assistant's lips curled into a just right arc. The director says it's a very novel, immersive therapy, with remarkable results. I sat in the Rolls-Royce heading to the airport, slowly stirring the coffee in my cup. Outside the car window, the Gu Corporation building, once a symbol of supreme power, flashed by, the Gu Corporation logo at the top being dismantled letter by letter. Like a giant skeleton, being devoured by vultures. I pressed a button. The black partition slowly rose, completely isolating everything from the past. From now on, there would be no more Serena. Only S.Q. I's mysterious founder, who never shows her face, but controls everything. And Aiden will live in the hell he built for me, consciously, endlessly. Until he rots. Consciousness is my last act of mercy towards him. And also my most vicious curse.